Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Ask Sebastian. And before we get to tonight's question from a viewer, I'd like to say a few words concerning the state of affairs over at Sudbury Manor, as it seems that the archaeological dig that was supposed to take place back in January has been indefinitely postponed. The reason being that the Sudbury family have now completely blocked the area surrounding the site, and in some places have even erected large fences. This latest act of foolishness comes just months after the courts ruled in favour of the North Compass Archaeological Society, insisting that the Sudburys allow full access to what could very possibly be a site of national importance. But quite honestly, none of this comes as a surprise to me, as the Sudburys seem to flaunt the law of the land at almost every opportunity. However, it seems word has got out, because according to my sources, there is now once again a flow of protesters beginning to flood the area around Sudbury Manor. And if the last protest is anything to go by, the Sudburys are in for quite the bombardment. Anyway, back to the show. And the first of this week's questions is from someone called Milton in Barnes, who asks if I am now a member of the National Network of Truth Seekers. Well, I can understand why you might think that, but the answer is no. And even though I have on occasion assisted them with certain inquiries and investigations, I've not actually signed up, as it were. In fact, the truth is, I'm working on a novel at this very moment which delves into this very subject, and more specifically, my struggle to understand just what it is they stand for. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not entirely sure that their enigmatic leader Terry will be overly impressed when the book actually goes on sale, as I intend to literally lift the proverbial lid on their organisation. You see, my job as an investigative journalist is to seek the truth no matter what, and not to pander to other people's agendas. Not that I have any intention of warning you off these truth seekers, far from it, as they do a marvellous job most of the time. And indeed, I consider many of them to be close personal friends, especially those that attended Hotch Academy. Speaking of Hotch Academy, have you signed the petition to reinstate the annual Run the Badger Bell competition? Because apparently you should have received one through the letter flap in your front door. Now then, another interesting question in my postbag is, would I ever consider going into space like William Shatner? Interestingly, this is something myself and my good friend Patrick Moorcroft spoke about just recently, and the truth is, I personally have never really felt the appeal of leaving our planet. Even when Patrick proposed the possibility that the truth of our lost historical past could very well be known to a technologically advanced race of non-terrestrials. However, let's be honest, that is an entirely different question. Suffice to say, my answer remains the same. After all, my passions lie very much beneath, not above, terra firma. And finally this evening, a question from someone called Brian in Margate, who asks, if I were a student at Hogwarts, what house would I like to be placed in? Now, if I'm honest, I didn't really understand the question first, so I was forced to ask one of the production team, who told me that it's something to do with a wizard called Harry Potter. And to cut a very long story short, they had me do some ridiculous online test with something called a sorting hat. And it turns out I am a Hufflepuff, which suits me just fine, as it turns out that their sigil is none other than a badger. And as you know, the badger is a powerful symbol to many people here in North Campus, myself included. So yes, I'm very happy with that, even though it seemed to cause quite a few giggles in the office. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode. So, until next week, this is Sebastian Presley saying, may the blessings of Mother Compass be upon you.